How do you spell your last name?
S-A-W, Sawasky, Sawasky.
Okay. First thing I'd like to know is how old were you? Do you remember about that time?
That was in 29. I was born in 1905, so that would be, I was 24. Yeah.
This will be really good.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I have down here, did you go to school during the Depression?
No, I was married.
So,
no, I didn't go to school,
okay.
no.
Where did you live?
Here, right here. We bought our home.
Right here?
Mm-hmm. We bought our home in 29.
That's Racine. Cross. Was Roosevelt School built?
Yeah. It was here before we were.
Okay. Were you from a big family?
Yeah, 8 children.
8. Okay. How many brothers did you have?
4 brothers.
4
and
brothers.
3 sisters. There was 4 girls and 4 boys.
Okay. Did any of your brothers or sisters have jobs at that time? Or?
Yeah, they had. Yeah, I think all of them were working. I'm almost sure they were. Harry got laid the Depression.
Okay. What I'd like to know is the types of jobs that
they were doing
they
at
might
that
have
time.
had, and what the pay was, if it was good or bad.
Well, I wouldn't. I know my brother Al, my oldest brother, had a very good job in Toledo, and he was head of the tool and die department of. I forget the name of the company. Doler Die, that was it. And he was making very good money at that time. I mean, maybe something like maybe $25,000, $30,000, which was a lot of money in those days, a year. In those years. I mean, Harry was working for 80 cents an hour. He was making $35 a week. Harry was.
Okay.
How
about
No, he wasn't even making that much. He was making 35 cents an hour, and he worked 40 hours. He was only making around $14, $15 a week.
Okay, that's what I'd like to know right there. How about you? Did you have a job?
And not in the Depression, no.
You didn't?
I had a job before that, but not during the Depression. No.
How much were you making before that?
I was making $17 a week.
And what were you doing?
It was office work.
Secretary like?
Yeah, secretarial work.
Did your father work before the Depression?
My dad was
dead.
Oh, no, he wasn't. No, excuse me, no. My dad worked. My dad was I was only 24. Yeah, my dad didn't die until he died in 51, so I was 40-some years old when he died. So, yeah, he was working. I don't remember my dad being laid off.
Dude, what kind of job was he doing?
He was head of the inspection department at Walker. He worked for, I don't know what years, he also worked for the inspection department for the Bazaar series in South Milwaukee. But the years I couldn't tell you. I mean, I couldn't tell you exactly the year. But I think during the Depression...
Do you know how much he was making?
God, I have no idea what my dad made. I have no idea what he made.
Okay, that's it. I wanted to know if he was working.
Yeah, he was working.
Did your mother work, or was she at home with the
mother
family?
never worked, no.
Okay.
No.
When you had money, did you save it or did you spend it, or was it used for necessities?
Oh God. Harry got laid off. He was only making 35 cents an hour. And he got laid off. And we bought our home. We were paying on our piano. And at that time, when you bought a home, you didn't get the storms in the windows and the storm doors. So we had extra bills, like the storm doors had to be paid, the storm windows, the piano, and the house, and raised a couple of kids. We ate a lot of oatmeal and a lot of soup. Okay. So it went for necessity. Money went for necessities.
So, as far as entertainment, then there wasn't...
Very little.
Very little.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then, well, you just mentioned about food. It was, did you always have enough to eat, or were there days?
No, we had enough. I mean, we didn't go hungry. I don't mean that we were destitute.
Okay.
No.
What types of food then did you eat, like, mainly?
Well, I mean, we'd eat one good meal, but I mean...
One good meal a day?
Yeah, and then, we ate meals that were very economical. I can't remember, but I mean, money wasn't that plentiful, so we had to go into the cheaper cuts of meat and less frills, you know what I mean? Nothing that was considered a luxury. We didn't have anything like that. You just didn't have the money.
What types of food though? Like you had said oatmeal.
Just the necessity foods. You know what I mean? Things like you would eat at any ordinary meal. You know what I mean?
As far as milk, did you?
We had milk. We always had milk. Yeah. No, but see, those days we didn't. They didn't even have skim milk. You couldn't even buy it. We used to go out on the farm and buy our milk by the gallon. We bought it raw milk.
How much was it a gallon? Do you remember?
How much was it? God, I can't remember. I don't remember how much it was, but we used to go out and get... In fact, I got the milk pail down the basement yet. We used to go out and get 2 gallons of milk right from the farm.
How long did 2 gallons last?
Well, it wouldn't last too long because we were milk drinkers. We still are. You know, I mean, our whole family.
How many kids did you have?
Just 2. Two, Tom and Dan. That's the only 2 we had. Yeah.
Well, you were 24.
Yeah.
As far as sports at that time, were your kids involved in any sports, or weren't they old enough yet?
Danny couldn't. No, they weren't old enough. See, they were just kids. Danny. So I don't think Danny might have been born when I was in early 20s when he was born, so he was only a baby. Tommy wasn't born in the Depression, so I didn't have that up there. Only had one boy.
Just one boy?
Yeah, did one boy. Yeah. Tommy wasn't born in the Depression.
How old was he?
Who?
Do you remember at the time?
Danny?
Yeah.
Danny was born in 28, and this was 29, so it was 1 year. Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Okay, well, back on Danny then. Was it hard for you as far as buying a crib and all? Did you have a crib or clothing?
Oh, yeah, we had all that stuff. I mean, we didn't... where we had the advantage over a lot of young people at that time, even though we had it tough as far as there wasn't that much available money coming in, you know. But when we got married, we had $1,000, which at that time, I mean, very few people, you know, had that to start. So we had all our furnishings, and we had cribs and that for the babies and baby puppies. We didn't suffer as much as some people. The only thing that we were married in 24, so we were married 5 years, you know, before the Depression hit, and. By that time, I mean, we had all of the necessities that we needed at home. I mean, we had lovely furniture. I remember I bought a living room set, and at that time, that's 56 years ago, I paid $410 for a living room set, which was a lot of money.
Yeah.
And we paid $125 for our stove. That was a lot of money 56 years ago. So what we had was good stuff, and we did have that. But when the Depression came along, I mean, we didn't suffer because we didn't have nice things, but we were just bound up because we didn't have any cash. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it meant that when we bought something, it really had to be needed. You know, so it went for food. And clothing, I mean, that was the thing. It went for necessities. It didn't go for luxuries, you know.
Okay.
See?
Did you have any problem as far as paying bills?
Yeah. So you know what happened? I mean, things were so tight. I had a sister that lost her home and a brother that lost his home. And things were so tight here. And we were paying interest, you know, on our home, and also paying off on the home.
How high was the interest on the home? Was it real high?
No, it was around 3 3.5 or 3 3/4. It was about that. And what happened, we had to pay $125 a month. Harry was making 80 cents an hour at the quarry when he got the quarry. Before that, he'd get laid off in the winter. He got 80 cents an hour at the quarry. Then every winter he'd get laid off because it was seasonal.
Right.
Then he'd go and work, and he'd work like at Walker's. He worked at Racine rubber plant. He got 35 cents an hour when he worked at Walker's. 35 cents an hour. That was $14 a week. Well, so what happened? We had to pay $125 a month on our home. Half went off of the principal and half went for the interest, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So well, we couldn't. So you know what we did? We paid the interest on the money. You know, we couldn't pay anything off for 3 years, and we were 3 years behind with our taxes. They piled up. So after Harry got back to work, they joined the union in at the quarry, and his wages went up from 80 cents to $1.20. 40 cents an hour, which I thought we were going to be millionaires. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Today, I mean, it sounds ridiculous to you, I know. But it went up to $1.20 an hour. You know, well, that was a big increase for us, you know.
It did.
Well, so then we finally got caught up there on our back taxes. You know, we had 3 years taxes. Yeah. Then we start paying off again on our house, you know. Now, $125 was just for our house a month. We had to eat. We had to have recreation. We had to have clothing. Mm-hmm. And you do that on $14 a week.
Yeah.
So he'd go out and he'd peddle, and Harry smoked. He'd go out and peddle for Wally Eisen down here had a store. He'd go out and peddle bills for just enough money for smokes. You know, it was tough. You look at us today and we got everything. You don't realize what a tough. You kids don't realize. You know what I mean? You can hear about depression and that, but you live it once, and you'll learn to appreciate what you've got. And I mean, and we were one of the better ones there. We could still hang on at our home, and how we did it, I don't know. I still don't know how we did it. My sister lost her home. My brother lost his flat. They couldn't hold on to it.
Where did they go? Did they live with relatives then, or?
No. But they had to go and rent homes, and they were paying on their homes. It's like us. If we didn't just pay the interest to hold on, you know, which we managed to do. But I suppose now, I don't know if Harry's raise came into effect at that time. I'm not too sure when that raise went into effect, and whether that made the difference whereby at least we could pay the interest to hold our homes. But they couldn't because there was no money available. There was no jobs to be had. They sold the home and rented them. They lost their homes, you know. So it was rough, Andy. It was really rough times. And I mean, people don't believe that. And you know another thing? My oldest brother that I was just telling you at the time, he had this good job in Toledo, which was a really good paying job because you made $14 a week and he's getting $35,000 a year. I mean, there's just no comparison, you know.
Yeah.
And he was down there in Toledo. He had a beautiful home down there. And there was 52 banks down there in Toledo. And when the Depression came along, 50 of them closed, and it wiped him out. It wiped him out. They got like 10 cents on a dollar or something. Mm-hmm. He had to start all over.
Well, then he had his money invested in those banks.
That's right. That's right.
What about you? Did you have any money invested in banks where they closed?
No. I don't remember. I don't think we had much in the bank. We might have had a small savings. You know what I mean?
So, did you ever have to go to a bank for a loan or anything during the Depression or anything like that?
Well, I think
what I'm looking for is, did the banks trust you?
Trust you. Oh, yeah. Now I don't remember. I don't remember if it was through the bank or something. But we had to borrow money in order to buy a car. You know what I mean?
Okay.
And we were never refused any credit as far as Harry and I were concerned. Even when we bought this home now, and you won't believe it, but at that time we had $1,000 down to put on a home when we bought the home, and at that time you couldn't buy a flat with $1,000 down. You had to buy just one single family home. Well, how did we get this home with a flat? for $1,000. You know why? We first were married, you lived down here on LaSalle, down here just before you get to Gooey out. And we lived next to Charlie Yondo, who was head of the Bell City Building and Loan, who we had our home financed with. And it was, well, I mean, it was through him. Charlie knew Harry and I. He knew what type of people we were, and that we were good. Our word was good. He came out and looked. So they took the chance on us knowing our character in that. And we bought this flat on $1,000 down. For what for Charlie Yondo, we never could have gotten this flat with $1,000 down. So of course, I mean, we had to have loans with the building and loan and one thing and another. Then I think when we had bought our first car, we had to. I don't know if that was through the bank. I just don't know where, but we had to have loans for the car. So we were never refused a loan. We weren't personally. But that doesn't mean other people did.
Yeah.
You know.
Well, see, we're comparing.
Yeah. Yes.
Some will get some that weren't. You know.
That's right.
I've got
That's
one
right.
That wasn't.
That's right. No, we weren't. But like I say, our character spoke for us. Not that I'm trying to put ourselves up, but I'm trying to tell you why we got the credit. You know what I mean? And Charlie Yondo knew that Harry was a hard-working guy. He worked every day. You know what I mean? And of course, Charlie was the one that took the chance on us, and to this day, of course, he's been dead many years, but he's the guy that gave us the break. So we did get a break, you know.
So you were paying interest on your house. Well, you were paying the house loan off,
and we couldn't pay anything off on the principal. We were paying. For 3 years, we paid just the interest on the loan, you know, in order to hold the account open, see.
So you had the loan on the house, the loan on the car. The furniture, was that paid for? Or?
I think the furniture was paid for. I'm almost sure by that time it was paid for. I'm almost sure it was. In fact, I think we paid cash for it because Harry had $1,000, and I think we bought the living room set, and I know the stove, and that was around $600 for those two. And I can't remember. Oh, and then I had a $400 bedroom set too at that time.
So a bedroom set was?
Yeah, that was a solid black walnut bedroom set, which was over $400. And today, even the $400 bedroom set isn't a cheap set, but at that time, 56 years ago,
it
was a beautiful set. That was solid black walnut. And a friend of my dad's at that time was he dealt in furniture making, and which I didn't know. I was a young kid. What did I know about furniture? I mean, you could have told me that was a piece of pine. I wouldn't have known. You know what I mean? And he went over to this. He thought the set was so. He opened the drawer and he pulled it out, and even the sides of the drawer, and that's all solid black walnut. I sold that set for I think $35, and I bought a new set. And the fellow was going to take all the coloring off and bleach it out for his daughter for a wedding present. Beautiful set, you know. So yeah, that was it. We had the living room set was over $400, the bedroom was $400, and then the gas stove. So that was almost $1,000 right there.
Well, you were paying all of this.
No, that was paid in cash. That was paid in because Harry
what I'm
had
looking for is the loans and the type of bills that you get.
Oh, well, now we had the car, and we had the interest on the house loan, and we had
any electric or water bill or anything like that?
No, that we kept up pretty good. That we kept up. You know, we didn't go behind on that. The only thing we went behind on was our taxes for 3 years.
I'm trying to get at the stuff that you all have that you have to pay at the same time.
Well, it was the storm door screens and the storm windows, the piano, and the car. These were the things that we were paying on. That was plenty.
Your food and your clothing.
Well, that we paid cash for. We never went into debt for that.
Oh.
But we did have. You think that wasn't enough? You got the car, you got the house, you got the taxes, you got the screens, the storms, the storm doors, and the piano. Well, what more do you want? You know what I mean? How much more are you going to pay on?
For $14 a week.
Yeah. Well, that wasn't always $14 for the whole week for the whole year because Harry only did that during the winter months. You know, when he was laid off.
Yeah, it's pretty close. So.
Yeah. Well, that's what he got then. Well, when he was making 80 cents an hour. At 40, he was making $32 a week, see, at the quarry. But then, of course, when he got laid off, he had to take whatever he could get. He worked for 35 cents an hour.
Was there any time at all that you really saved up any money then?
Not during the Depression, no. Not during the Depression, no.
Okay.
We were lucky to hang on. We didn't save anything. Not until later,
Yeah.
We just hung on. And we were lucky
So
we could hang on.
you just barely made it though.
Yeah, we just hung on, yeah.
All right.
That's right. No, you couldn't save anything, Andy. You were lucky to hang on. Yeah.
What was your clothing like? Was it new or was it used?
No, we never bought used. It was new. But of course, like I say, up to this point, we had things, nice things, and so when the Depression came along, we didn't. I can remember. I always had nice clothing, you know what I mean? Well, then the Depression came along, and of course, you couldn't afford too much. Well, I didn't need too much because I had quite a bit from before the Depression, so you just went without. But we were going to have a banquet down at Little Bohemia, and I wanted a new dress for the So Harry went out and borrowed. No, he took the money. I guess we had a little something in the savings account. I don't remember. It wasn't much. So he went out and bought me a new dress with that for the because I know different ones in the family thought that was an awful extravagance to go out when nobody had anything to go out and buy a new dress.
Your clothes in that were in style then?
Oh yeah. I've got some yet that I wear that's 7, 8 years old and people compliment me. I mean, they're really nice. Of course today the styles, you can wear any style. You can be on the street with a barrel over your head or anyplace else and nobody looked the second time at you. No, so we didn't have the problem that way, you know what I mean. But we just buckled up our belts and did without, and did with what we had.
Yeah.
See, that was the thing.
How were clothes at that time? Expensive?
Well, at today's standards, they wouldn't be. But
I mean, for the time.
For the time being, yes, they were expensive. Yes. Do you know? Before I was married, when I was making $17 a week, do you know what I would pay for a hat? You won't believe this. You'll think I'm lying, and I'm not. $40 for a hat. But they were all handmade.
Yeah.
And $40 for a dress was nothing in those days. I remember many times I paid $40.
This was before the Depression?
That was before the Depression. $40. That's right. And I would buy hats down at Woods, and I'd pay $40 for them. But I always had nice things. And before I was married even, I had a little purse, and you won't believe it was about the size of this here, not this here. And it opened up, and they had a little electric light in there. And that's not light to light up the mirror. And this was 56 years ago. I mean, I always had nice things, Andy. So when the Depression came, I didn't need much because I had so much.
Mm-hmm.
Today, I bet you I've got 40 to 50 pair of slacks in there. You won't believe it. Just slacks. No, you won't believe it. I mean, and I said this morning, I was out shopping with Kathy, and it's almost a sin to have that much. I used to have enough room for the whole family. I got enough room now for all my clothes alone. I haven't got enough room. I got things down in the basement. I got them in the front hall. I've got every door in the place with hangers and behind them, with racks on.
Yeah.
And it's almost a sin. But then Kathy said to me, well, you don't drink and you don't smoke. And you got to have some weakness,
Yeah.
and some outlet or something. So, I mean, when the Depression came along, we weren't hit. We were hit insofar as there was no available money. There was no available money. You were up to debt up to here. And so what you did earn, you had to go for eats and clothing. There was nothing left for entertainment. You seldom went to a show because you didn't have any money to, see. So it was hard. Now, there were people that didn't have as much as we did, and that hit them even harder, because they didn't have the necessities. We were just fortunate that we did. But, I mean, there was no available cash.
Was there any relatives or anything that you had to help out?
Oh, yes. A sister of mine came, and she lived with us for a while. Her husband was out of work, and she stayed with us for a while. And I don't remember how long. I don't think it was too long. But then they lost their car, and they had bought a new Chevy. This was a 38 Chevy. And this year, see, now that was 38, that was 9 years after even the Depression. And we were still in debt up to here. They bought a new Chevy, 38 Chevy, 36 Chevy. 36 Chevy, that was 7 years after, well, around about 6, 7 years after the Depression. And we were still up to debt. Well, I mean, you didn't pay off these things. The piano cost me at that time $1,000, at 30. Well, I mean, these were big bills, Andy. And, let's see, how was it? My sister, they bought that new Chevy, a 36 Chevy, and her husband died suddenly with pneumonia. They had 3,081 miles on it, brand new. And then the finance company was going to take it back. You know what I mean,
yeah.
See? And all they had on it, I don't know how much they paid originally, but there was still only $800 left on it. So I said, we got to buy the car. Where could you get a car for $800?
Yeah.
We didn't have any money, so where are we going to get the money? You know what And to this day, I don't know how in the devil we ever swung it. I don't know how we got it. Best darn car we ever had. $800. Brand new. It had 3,081 miles on it. But I mean, see, it was the money you didn't have. So you had to go out and make loans. You know what I mean?
When you did this, what did you sacrifice on to get that extra money?
Well, we just had to give up. Like I say, we ate foods that were cheap. We ate oatmeal. We had a lot of soup.
A little bit on the food then.
Yeah, well, that's about the only place you could cut back on. That and clothing and entertainment. We didn't go to a show, or we didn't go out and buy the kids ice cream. And those days you didn't have ice cream in the house. Well, we only had an ice box. You didn't have electric.
Yeah.
What you call it. So, I mean, we cut back on all the luxury things, see? So, like I said, we ate a lot of oatmeal, and we ate a lot of soup and pancakes and that type of food, cheap food. You had to, because the available cash wasn't around, see?
Canning and that, did you do a lot of canning?
I tried it once, and everything spoiled, and I never did it ever. But a lot of people did. It was one way of saving money. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Let me see what else I got here before I get into some of this other stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, some of these we answered already. Well, back on the clothing, we'd just like to know your opinion of some of the styles of clothes today.
In comparison to what we had at that time? I think they're very much alike. Very much alike. Very much alike.
As far as girls and that wearing blue jeans nowadays.
Oh, no, that they didn't have, no.
What's your opinion on that, though?
Whether the girls should wear blue jeans?
Yeah, do you?
Well, I don't feel one way or the other about it. I mean, I don't see anything wrong in it myself, personally.
How about with the schools, where the public schools, you can wear whatever you want, and then the parochial schools
with
dress codes?
Well, I'll tell you what, I think I have a sort of divided opinion on that, simply because in a public school where you can wear whatever you want, I do think that there possibly is where some families that can afford more, then those that can afford less do feel as though, I know I did that, because, and I'll tell you why. When I went to the high school, I was in an English class where all the swells were in. The mayor's daughter was there. The district attorney's daughter was there. And they were all the high mucky mucks of Racine. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And here you are, a little bit of nobody. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And I quit high school because of this English teacher. She made you feel so inferior.
Yeah.
That if I knew the answer, I was so scared stiff when I got up, I said the wrong thing.
Yeah.
And so I do think, just my own opinion, that where you can wear the type of clothes you want, and possibly the reason I feel that way is because it affected me that way. Now maybe somebody else it wouldn't affect that way. But then again, too, in the parochial school where they wear the uniforms, I don't know whether I'm for it. I am and I'm not, simply because I don't think that, I know they take a vote on it sometimes, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But now, you take, if it saved you money, I would say yes. But in most cases it doesn't. Then the next year they come along with a new dress code, and if you've got kids coming up that can use what you had last year, they can't use it. So therefore, I think it's very unfair to the families to have uniforms.
How was it back during the Depression?
No, was
there anything like that?
No uniforms. The only thing now, like if the kids went to Holy Communion, they all either had to have navy blue pants with white shirts or something to that degree. But as far as school, I never bought for either one of the boys a uniform for school. So I don't believe they were around at that time. I really don't. Of course, that's over 40 years ago. See, that would be, 51 years ago. Yeah. And they didn't have uniforms at that time. See? So, I don't know. I mean, I don't object to the girls wearing jeans. I don't think there's anything wrong in that. I mean, in fact, I think they're a lot nicer than skirts and that in a lot of respects, because I think it affords more freedom, freedom of movement. And no, I don't think, I wouldn't feel hostile against jeans. That's my personal opinion. Yeah. You know.
We didn't have anything on music or anything like that, but what was the type of music in that?
The jazz age.
Jazz.
Well, yeah. Well, it was sort of, yeah.
Well, what did you listen to?
Jazz. Oh, I love jazz.
Okay.
Oh, God, yes. The jazz.
Blues?
To this blues, I like anything. As long as it was jazzy. That syncopation was what got me, you know.
You played the piano, right?
Yeah.
Did you play jazz and that stuff back then?
Oh, yeah. I used to like the jazzy tunes, you know what I mean. Those, in fact, were the easiest for me to play because I never took lessons, see, and they seemed to have the swing that motivated me, you know.
Was it, did you just play it by yourself, or was it with your brothers? Or?
Oh, well, I played mostly alone, but see, my whole family, they all were musicians, and nobody took any lessons, see. And my brother used to have a combo. My dad used to belong to the Eagle Band. We had all the instruments, and we had, these were mostly with the older ones. I was next to the youngest, but with the older ones, they'd all have their music stands with the music, and we'd buy orchestra music, you know, for each instrument, and we'd play together. But by the time I got old enough to play, see, I had to pick it out myself. And by that time, the older ones were all married off. So there wasn't anybody there to play with, you know.
Do you still play today, then?
Yeah, I play today, but my piano's so out of tune. And you know, Elaine gave me $50 for my birthday. And I said, I'm going to use it to get my piano tuned. I haven't even called yet. And you know what's going to happen? That hasn't been tuned for 6-7 years, I bet. And they're not going to be able to bring it up in one tuning. You know what I mean? They can only stretch those strings so far, see? And I know they're not going to be able to bring that up in one tune. So it's going to cost me $100 to get my piano tuned. And right now I'm having a little bit of financial, well, it's a little bit tight because I'm still paying taxes on my house. I mean, I take them in quarters so I don't have to go into my savings and try to pay the taxes off on your monthly income. It's a little tight right now, you know. So the piano, I just won't play it. And the other day the kids came over, Tommy's kids came over with this little Sawasky boy, and he's talented. He's only 12, and he can play. He's just so talented. He plays the organ over at Sacred Heart, and he plays the piano. Oh yeah, he's so talented. And he sat down, and I never realized how awful that piano sounded till I heard somebody else play it. Yeah, and since then, I haven't played that piano. I won't play it. It sounds just terrible.
Who's this guy now?
His name is Chris Sawasky.
Because he's the one that we hear every Sunday we go to church.
Well, I don't know what mass he plays. And then there's another one.
He plays at them all, I think.
No. His one brother, there's another older brother that plays too, occasionally.
The one I'm talking about,
He's not too big. Yeah,
he's
that's
short guy,
him.
dark hair.
Yeah. And he's talented. Yeah, little boy is talented. And he goes over to Tommy's, and I hear him playing the piano over there. And that little boy is really, and he likes it. He loves it, So he'll be going someplace,
Yeah.
So when he came the other day and he played, oh God, I thought that piano sounds just terrible. I haven't played it since because I won't play it. It sounds terrible, So that was our family,
Well, I guess that covers it for that.
Yeah.
Now, just a little bit of political. What did you think of Franklin Delano Roosevelt?
I thought he was a pretty good president.
You think he did his job?
I do. He came along with the, not the big deal, what was that called?
The New Deal.
The New Deal, that's it. No, I really thought that, I think he's the one that tried to pull this country.
Did any of his New Deals in there, did any of the programs affect you directly?
Well, I don't remember now. He had like the, what was that?
The CCC.
CCC, yeah, I was going to say CCD. CCC, I think it...
They had to do with the conservation.
Yeah, that's right. But I don't, none of my kids were old enough to be involved in it. You know what I mean? But there were relatives in my family that were on these different programs, yes.
Did that help their families out as far as them sending home that money? Was it a big help?
Oh, absolutely, absolutely.
If I remember right, it was they got $35 a month, where $5 they kept and another $30 they sent home.
I really don't know what they sent, of course.
I guess that's what the average
Is that what it was? Well, that could be. I mean, that I wouldn't know, Andy.
How about any of the public works that he came up with?
Well, like I say,
do you think that helped the
yes, yeah, oh, absolutely. Although my family, my children weren't old enough, to be involved in this. I think it was terrific the way it helped. Oh, absolutely.
Some of his programs, they people say that they were just didn't have to build certain bridges and that they did.
No, but I mean,
other ones
he created jobs. Yes, no, I was very much in favor of his program. I really was, simply because it did give people that were out of work, and I mean, we didn't have welfare in those days. There was no welfare you could turn to. You had to get out and work. So consequently, you got a small amount of wages, but at least you had your self-esteem that you were earning it. No, I think that Roosevelt's New Deal was. I really think that I'm all in favor of that. I'm not in favor where the government hands out money just for doing nothing.
Right.
No, sir.
How about some of the homeowners? I can't think exactly. Where the federal government loaned money.
The FHA.
The
FHA.
Where they loaned money to the banks that you could borrow or loaned it directly.
Yeah, well, that was mostly for veterans and that, for getting low rate mortgages.
So did you ever have to?
We didn't, because Harry wasn't a veteran. He was too young for the war. At that time. So we weren't personally involved, but I know people that were. And I think that was good too. I really think it was. Yeah, I do think it stimulated, and not only that, but at the same time, it wasn't handed to you. You had to earn it. I think it's wrong when we have welfare and people go and get money from the government for sitting there doing nothing. Although there was one program, now I don't know if it was under Roosevelt, it maybe wasn't, where they had. What did they call it? I can't remember. I can't remember. Whereby they paid the farmers for not planting wheat or planting anything to keep the prices up. And I have uncles and aunts that have got big farmers up in Fond du Lac. In fact, my mother's whole family were all farmers. Now, it was wrong for the government to say, you don't plant anything this year, and they paid them for it. Now, that is wrong, in my opinion.
Well,
As long as you can work and get something, but to give it to you, no. That's all wrong. To just give it to you, it's wrong in my opinion. But now, I don't know, I think that was after Roosevelt. I can't get...
well, that was part of what caused the Depression. As we look at it, the prices, the farmers were the ones that suffered the most going into it.
Do you know I don't believe that? And you know why? You know why? My cousin Clyde that owned a 400-acre farm up in Fond du Lac, and this is the bone of contention with me even to this day. They're always saying the poor farmers, and I don't believe this. We went down to visit Clyde, and since then he sold his farm. We went down there. He was telling Harry he never got so much established prices for his milk. In fact, he was bringing in over $2,000 a month just for milk alone. He had piglets that one day we were there that he sold for $35 a piece, just little things and he was telling Harry, he said, Harry, that's all wrong. He said, the farmers, they're not the poor farmers they want you to think they are. They aren't. I had at least 6 to 8 uncles that owned farms, and I had one uncle that was in the hay business. He sold hay. They load them in railroad cars, and big hay dealer used to sell it to Chicago. And I know what I'm talking about. They weren't just some little garden farm. They had 400 and 500 acres up there. And believe you me, every one of those were rich farmers. You can't make me, and this here Clyde with the milk, this is only about 3 years ago that he told us he'd never had better prices for his stuff in all his life. And I believe it's wrong for the government to subsidize these here things. I do.
During the Depression and all, they were pretty well off farmers.
Well, my relatives never suffered. They didn't.
Because
no, that was one area where I didn't believe in that was wrong. They paid the farmers not to plant, and we'd go out riding, and there'd be acres that was never planted. Sure, the government paid them not to. That's wrong, Andy.
Okay.
It's wrong.
What I'm looking for is your opinion. That as far as what you can see, is that it was more or less the government that just said this, that the farmers were poor?
I think it was a political issue. I really think it was a political issue. I don't, personally from my own, and I'm only talking from my own experience.
Right.
I'm not talking, I can't talk about the farmers down in Illinois. Do you know that the year after Tommy and Danny and Elaine got married, when they got married, they went to Niagara Falls for their honeymoon. They had such a good time, they wanted to go back the next year, so they took me along the next year. On the way back, Andy, you won't believe this, and I can remember, now your grandma Kowalski, she did a lot of canning, and you maybe were brought up when you saw her do, I don't know, maybe you don't remember. Anyway, she did a lot of canning, and she did a lot. So on our way back from Niagara Falls, we stopped at a place, I don't know if it was in Indiana where it was, we brought back 6 or 7 bushels of tomatoes. And when they made a bushel that day, they'd be grounded way up. 50 cents a bushel. I can't buy a tomato for 50 cents today. 87 cents a pound. And we got the 50 cents a bushel. We got those for. Would you believe it? You can't buy one tomato sometimes for 50 cents today.
Well,
see
what they're showing us.
Yeah.
Now there's different views from these, people, historians.
Yeah.
But what they're more or less saying is that farm prices were so low that the farmers were the ones suffering. So the government told them to plant less.
So that the price would go up.
So the price would force it to go up.
Yeah.
And this was supposed to better the situation, but it actually worsened it.
Yeah, it did. It worsened it. I think to begin with, I think it was the wrong tactics to begin with. Myself, I don't think that you can build a solid economy by denying. Andy, politics and the economy go together, simply because we cannot, we have to use all of our resources, don't we?
Right.
We'd be foolish if we didn't, wouldn't we?
Right.
All right, so now we're denying this piece of land over here. Now, does that make sense? Does that make sense?
Not
To help the economy? Does that make sense? To leave this piece over here not planted? That doesn't make sense. Now, let somebody explain that to you. I can't understand how denying this piece of property is going to help this economy over here. Mm-hmm. We've got to keep all of our resources working. Everybody, it's to our benefit, isn't it?
It should be.
That's right. So it goes back to a political issue again. See? That's the way I feel about it. I don't know if I'm right or if I'm wrong, but I hope somebody would point it out to me so I'd understand it.
Well, that's
See?
what I'm looking for.
See?
And when we present this,
Yeah.
he'll tell us,
Yeah.
how historians look at it now.
Yes.
Because they can look at it and they can come up with reasons why this
That's
happened.
right. And maybe in some small way we can contribute some way to control this out-of-hand
Well,
business.
they didn't live then to
No.
know what was going on.
They didn't. That's right.
And that's where, it all
That's
comes
right.
back.
It comes back. That's right.
It's either they weren't a farmer then or a
Well,
working man, or they weren't in
Andy,
college.
that's right. And another thing, you never, and I got this after Harry died, you never completely understand an issue until you're involved in it.
Right.
Now, and I'll tell you why I learned this lesson. My sister Florence lost her husband, well, it's been quite a few years ago now, quite a few years before Harry died, maybe 8, 9 years. And when I talked to her on the telephone and that, and she'd always be saying this and that, and I used to say to Harry, and I'm eating my words now, and I say, I don't know what's the matter with Florence. She's got a nice home, she's got everything she wants, and I mean, she can come and go, and she didn't have any problems money-wise, and I used to think, but wait, I lost Harry, and believe me, I know what she's talking about now, but up to that point, I didn't know it. You know why? Because I wasn't in that. You never completely know what an issue is about until you experience it. That's true. And you mark my word, as you get over it, some years you'll think back, Margaret was right. And until you're placed in that same position, you never quite understand it. You can sympathize with them, but when I used to always say too, I've got different friends that were widows for a number of years, and I used to think, gee, they're kind of forward, they're asking for people to do this and do that, and you know what? I'm doing the same darn thing. Why? Because you're unable to do it yourself. Pretty soon you get enough nerve up, and you start asking this one to do this and that one to do this. So until you're in that position, Andy, you never quite understand. You never do. You can sympathize, but that's a little bit different than understanding. See? And like you say, now with this here issue, this here where the government subsidizes this program and that program, and I'm not for those subsidized programs. I'm sorry I did.
See,
but they didn't work out in the Depression, and they're not going to work out now.
How about now? You feel more like the people should be doing it more than the government?
Yes, definitely. Too much control. That's right. I don't think that... You know what my biggest gripe is right now? I don't think that our politicians are representing the people.
No, they aren't.
See, this is my biggest gripe. That's right. The almighty dollar. And do you know the other day, Andy, there was...